Right now, Amarillo residents are voicing their outrage against a recent decision by Texas Attorney General Greg Abbott to block access to public information on chemical plants within the state.
The group gathered at a local preschool but discussed the serious topic of the right to know what chemicals are being stored in plants near their homes or schools. Pro News 7's Chelsea Goss has more on the story. Chelsea?
Thank you, Lisa. Larry, the group used the explosion in West a little over a year ago as an example of why residents should be aware of the chemical contents of a plant. A group of Wendy Davis campaign volunteers and supporters rallied together today to voice their discontent with Republican General Attorney Greg Abbott's decision to block public access to state records documenting the location of dangerous chemicals.
To work out a plan so that we're not only aware of what's there, to know how we're to respond when those places, should have an accident.
Another Davis advocate displayed her research through the Center for Effective Government on local chemical plants and their proximity to schools.
And within the Amarillo area Panhandle, there are 10 facilities and there are 17 schools that are affected by this.
Abbott defends his decision, saying it is meant to protect people by retaining the secrecy of the plants so that terrorists or those with negative intentions cannot access that information.
I think it's ridiculous. I think it's a smokescreen. I think it's a typical fear tactic.
Representative John Smithy says the Attorney General is simply reacting to discussions in legislation regarding the necessity to regulate and protect potentially hazardous chemicals being stored around the state. However, he understands the desire for open access to that information.
Suspicion would be that there are chemicals that are stored even in this area right now that could potentially pose some harm to public health. I would really like to know if any of those chemicals are located anywhere near where I live or where I work, and I think most Texans feel that way.
Smithy says this is not the final word on the access to chemical content, but simply a broad brush approach. He says by the next session, he believes the topic will be brought up again. Davis advocates believe if Wendy is elected, she will be transparent about the chemicals inside any plants and will involve local residents as well as first responders about those contents. Chelsea Goss, Pro News 7.